Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you the extra video of the day, and we're doing a question and answer. I haven't done one of these in a while, and we're going to be doing it live using the Twitch chat to supply the questions. So the first question is going to be from Craft Steam Gaming. Did I play any games before League? Yeah. I think most people probably did, unless you're like very young. I played a lot. I was raised, you know, with Game Boy and PlayStation, then PlayStation 2. I was a console gamer for the longest time. Then I got hooked on RuneScape, which was my first like legit computer game. Then that translated into World of Warcraft for a few years, and then eventually we played League. So yeah, played a lot of games before League. But League's just been the one that's stuck around the longest. Like I think I've now played League longer than I did World of Warcraft, I think. Just. Next one is going to be from Shock Redemption. What do you think is the biggest difference between regions in solo queue and competitive? A lot of it is the same. I know that sounds weird, but it's dedication to the game. So why is Korea known to be ahead in both competitive and a little bit in solo queue? Because the people are more dedicated to League. You know, they get home from school, work, etc., and that's all they do. Where people in the West, in Europe and North America, we do other stuff. There is a lot of that. It's just in the Korean culture a lot more than it is the Western culture. It will probably catch up in the next 10 years or so, but you have to remember the professional gaming scene in Korea has been around 10, 15 years longer than it has in the West. So it's just going to take a while for the West to catch up. And then as for like what's the difference between Europe and North America, I've played on both servers in high-ish rating. You know, Diamond 2 on North America, obviously Diamond 1 in US. I'd say US has a slight advantage from where I've played, mainly because EU people just care more about winning. And that does come with more of a rage environment. US is definitely more ragey than North America. But yeah, North America is just a lot more relaxed. And if you play badly on North America, sure, you can still get flamed, but probably not to the extent that you do on EU West. And then as for competitive, again, it's a lot of the same. The gap is closing, but Koreans are still ahead because of that dedication level. But now you can see, you know, the gaming houses, the offices, the work environment is all getting better for the Western players, and that will come also in time. Next question is going to be from Tafe Hugo. Why do you prefer LOLskill over other sites? I wouldn't say I prefer it. It's just the one that I use that gives a lot of the information very visible on the screen. You know, I like the win percentage, even though it's not that important. I like the win percentage, and I think it's the only website that does that. I like it's the world rankings. I think LOLskill is the only website that has the world rankings showing in the loading screen type thing that I use. You know, I could use LOL Nexus or Mobile Analytics. I've got obviously the sponsor slot that I'm doing with them this month, but I think LOLskill just kind of, for a very quick glance, tells you the information the quickest, and obviously that's important to me. Next one is going to be from Tuck the Fold. Big fan for a few years now, thanks very much. Your question is, what do you do if you feel that you are too high rated? What you mean is that you are placed in Silver 3 and quickly promoted to Silver 2, but you've noticed all your games you feel outskilled and constantly lose your games. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I have known people that have like been a little bit too, like they did just randomly got a really good placement and they're like, oh god. And they do go down in skill. Again, remember, you are probably going to even out. And yes, you're always going to have moments that you go through an insane win streak. Or you're going to have moments like I'm on at the moment that you're going to go on a big loss streak. They're just going to happen. But eventually your rating will level out when you're just kind of playing normal. So I wouldn't worry about it too much if you're kind of new to the game. Just keep playing. And again, I've always found if you're playing with higher rated people than you should be playing with, you'll probably actually learn more if you're actually paying attention to what they're doing. If you're not just playing League on autopilot, if you're actually looking at how they're beating you, that should actually make you a better player. So that's what I look into. So yeah. Next question is from Creamigake. That's a weird name. Would you ever start playing World of Warcraft again? Personally, Legion was a really great experience for me, and you might enjoy it. I am subscribed to World of Warcraft still. I have, you know, got a few max levels, nothing crazy. It's the commitment that I can't commit to. So a few of my friends, Jeebers, Kirby, etc., have got back into WoW recently and started to raid again. And yeah, hearing them talk about it is always making me go, oh, I really want to do that, because it was amazingly good, like amazing fun back in the day. But it's just the time commitment to actually go, okay, on that Wednesday night at 9 o'clock we're raiding, on that Thursday night at 8 o'clock. I just don't know if I can do that anymore. Because with YouTube, it's a bit up in the air. What happens if I haven't got a video done in time? Like, it's just a bit too much for me at the moment. Especially, you know, when I'm playing a video game like League for my job, that has to be priority. And World of Warcraft is an incredibly time-consuming game that I just don't think I have time for. So, yeah. Next question is from Berserker Shamu. Why do people get so tilted and or toxic when it's just a video game? The tilted thing is probably just because you are disappointed with yourself a lot of the time. Like, I'm tilted right now, and yes, there's a lot going around me that teammates are underperforming, but the person I'm disappointed in the most is myself. You know, I'm not playing well enough to carry these games, so I'm just going to be feeling a little bit under the weather about that. So tilting is fine. Tilting happens in sport. In real life sport, they just don't call it tilted. You know, that's a video game term, I presume. But as for raging and that, raging is probably something that a lot of people that haven't done a lot of competitive stuff in their life do. Or they're too competitive. It's one of the two. So they haven't done competitive things, and this is the first thing that they're doing is competitive, so they just can't deal with losing. Or they're just way too of a competitive person that they can't take a step back and go, it's a video game. That's mainly the two types of people that rage in League. Or obviously the third is that they just have no control over their emotions or anger issues. Obviously that does count too. But yeah, like it's always going to happen. It's not just League, and that's an important thing to know. It's not just League. I remember when I was a kid playing Buzz Lightyear, Toy Story 2 on the PlayStation 1. It was impossible, and I was raging as a little kid. You know, my mom had to turn off the PlayStation. It's just a thing that people do. So yeah. All right, next thing is, what do you think? Oh, this is from 13 Spartan 37. What do you think is holding people back in climbing in ranked? Is it mainly mentality, or is it a mixture? It's always a mixture. There's not always just one thing that's holding someone back. There's always multiple things that are holding people back. But I would say mainly it's decision making. I'd say that's the most common thing of why people don't climb. It's decision making of, do I go for that kill? Do I go for that tower dive? Do we take this dragon? That's all decision making, and I'd say that's the biggest problem that people have, is that because people don't understand. Part of decision making is knowing how much damage you're doing. You know, if say you're playing Riven and you're against a Yasuo, you as a Riven player should know how much damage you're dealing right now, and can you kill that person? And that is part of a decision. Can you do it? Are you going to do it? So there you go. Next question is from Zob do you think you could duo stream with Fox or Fi? I know you don't like to duo, but you once said you could play with Fi because that wouldn't really be boosting. I only use that as an example because, yes, it wouldn't be boosting. I wasn't saying I would duo with him. It was just the example I was using. I personally don't love duo queuing. If I ever did something with those, it would most likely be just flex queue, which is basically normal games, and just having fun. But even, you know, trying to get time to play with Fox and Fi is very difficult. When you're all doing daily content and uploading daily content and recording at different times and you're sleeping at different times, it's very difficult to organize everybody to be on their computer at the same time to play League together. It's really hard, and it's surprisingly hard. So I'm not sure. Next one. I see Jeebus' question. Someone's just saying, how did the driving test go? Yeah, I passed it. I didn't get a perfect score in terms of no minors. I actually got 9, which isn't great. But I had a very nervous instructor, and I don't know why. She actually hadn't been doing any exams for the past 2 months, so my driving instructor did not warn me about her. And when I passed, he said, oh yeah, I'm sorry I didn't warn you about her. I didn't know she'd be here. If I did tell you something, is that she's going to be very nervous, and you should probably do things even more safe than you normally would. So a lot of my minors were just stuff that she was kind of being a little bit nervous about for no reason, unfortunately. But I don't care. It's a pass. all I have now is my sister rubbing it in my face that she only got 3 minors and I've got 9. Apart from that, it's a pass. So, yeah. Would you say your channel update has been successful? What, the Huzzy 2.0 thing? When we first were getting back into it, I felt like there was a really nice swing and the momentum was going and it was like a nice feeling and we were climbing. You know, we started in Diamond 5 at the beginning of this new climb to Master. We got to Diamond 3 relatively quickly. We nearly got to Diamond 2 promo. We did get to Diamond 2 promo, then we lost it. That was great. That felt good. That felt like at the beginning of the season when we got straight to Diamond 1. It's just been recently that obviously we've just had a massive slump. So to anybody watching my channel, they're always going to go, it's not been good. Because, yeah, recently it hasn't been. But overall, I think it's been better than not, you know. But I think the next big update for me, it'll be the introduction of the next series, which will be obviously off meta to Diamond, where we take a fresh account as we normally do as an unranked to Diamond into series, but only playing off meta things. I think that I hope that will be a popular series, and hopefully people will help promote that and stuff. But yeah, that'll be good. Next thing. Also, someone just subscribed. Brendolini, thank you very much, dude. Really appreciate it. Do you think there are mechanics or any mechanics in other MOBAs that LoL could use to improve? Well, LoL has taken some of them. You know, we've got Rift Herald, which is basically a Heroes of the Storm thing. One thing that I've always liked the sound of, but I don't know how well it would be, is the creep denying in Dota 2. If you guys are relatively new to League of Legends, you will not know, but Gangplank actually used to have that mechanic. I think it was eat a minion or something. I can't remember how it worked, but I believe it was Gangplank that had it. That he could, he could parlay a minion, his ally minion, I think. And that was cool. I really liked that. And Dota 2 obviously has creep denying, and I think that would add a whole new dimension to the game. I just don't know if it's going to be, like, I don't know if it would be healthy, because the amount of snowballing that happens in League is pretty big when you're, like, denying somebody farm. But if you could just kind of take your own farm and then also take farm away from the enemy, like, legitly, I think that would be kind of insane. As someone saying it was raise morale. Okay, so is this raise morale? That might have been his E, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that was a kind of cool mentality, cool mechanic, actually, that I would want it to fiddle with. Or maybe, like, they release a funny game mode in League of Legends that everything is killable, even the terrain is killable. That'd be interesting, like the trees and stuff, that you can chop down trees. Next one is from Sir Shy Guy. Any advice for getting demotivated to play League because of negativity? I would probably say mute people more. Again, people have sometimes questioned my muting stuff. I just mute people if I kind of could feel it's like going a little bit negative. That's what I do. So just mute people more. I know some people, I personally wouldn't do it, but some people literally load into the game and just do the /mute everybody, mute all, so they just don't have to deal with it. So maybe do that for a while and just, like, play League, enjoy the game without the communication of it. And, you know, if you don't have the communication, you won't have the toxicity. So maybe that would help. But if not, just play different stuff. Play ARAMs. Play normal games. Don't go into a ranked environment. Just have fun and play the fun game modes. So, yeah. Who is older, me or my sister? My sister is older by 2 years. And, yeah, she's my only sister that I know of. But yeah, no, she's great. Like, I know people have said, like, recently, I was like, oh, Huz, you know, you only could do evening streams and that in the evening because you're a sister. Like, is she that bad? No, she's great. But I just have respect for her, that she wakes up at 6 in the morning to go to work or whatever. So I'm not going to be streaming at 10 o'clock at night because she has to be asleep. So it's just I respect her in that way. So yeah. All right, so next one is from LG Black Code LG. Do you think GP or Skarner needs a rework? Well, Gangplank had a rework and it was actually very successful, and Gangplank actually has one of the highest win rates now in top lane. Like, Gangplank is literally back. The lethality patch has definitely helped him a lot. So there's that. Skarner, yeah, I'd probably say Skarner. Like, he had a rework too, but it wasn't actually that successful. Like, the fundamentals of Skarner that they probably needed to change didn't change. Like, the whole point of Skarner is that you run basically in a straight line and hook somebody or whatever, suppress somebody and bring them to your team. Well, firstly, it's very hard to actually get close to people, say, mid-late game at Skarner. And secondly, one item counters you. So if you're like, I've got to hook the AD carry, oh, they're going to kill everybody, they buy a QSS and you do nothing. So he probably does need, like, a little bit of a different stuff. Do I value from the Invictus one, do you value a respectful player more than a good player? Yeah, 100%. As I said earlier, like, honoring, sure, I might occasionally honor a toxic person by mistake because, you know, knowing me, I mute people. Say if they're being toxic in the first 5 minutes of the game, I'll mute them. Say it's a 40-minute game. By the end of the game, I've completely forgotten that they were toxic, and I might accidentally honor them. But if I actually do remember that someone is toxic or just not being very nice, they will never get an honor from me. A respectful player will. Even if a respectful player does play kind of bad, there's a good chance that I would probably still honor them and that type of thing. So, yeah. Will you ever meet my sister? Most likely no. Do I think the 10-ban system is better than the previous 6-ban from K Daniels 18? Yeah, 100%. It's way better. We get more bans. You as an individual ban something that you just want to get rid of. I know to all the people that just don't like it because they're like, oh, but the duplicate bans. What's the issue? Like, before, we had 6 bans. Like, in total, each team got 3 bans. That was it. This one, both team gets 5 bans, and even if there's a duplicate, well, then it's 9 bans, or then it's 8 bans. I haven't been in a game yet that there's only been 5 bans. I've not been in a game that everybody on both teams has banned the identical thing. I think I might have been in a game where only 6 champions got banned, but guess what? That's exactly the same number as the old system. But everybody has decided what they want to ban as an individual. And, like, for example, back when I used to play more competitive in top lane, even in solo queue, Jax used to be my absolute kryptonite. I literally just could not beat that champion no matter what. What would I do nowadays? Ban Jax. Like, as an individual right now can just get rid of a champion all the time that you just don't do well against. That's great. I don't see how ever people would be able to complain about that. How did you deal with your procrastination during your time at uni from 13 Spartan 37? I didn't have much procrastination during university. I got stuff done and then did other stuff. So that's the mentality that I would recommend, is that if you have a project that you're doing, whatever, do it in the first few weeks of the module, or do as much as you can do at all the time and then play games. That's what I did. You know, I was still doing YouTube back then, but sometimes I didn't do a YouTube video for 2 or 3 weeks while in university because I was getting all the work out the way and finished, and then I'll start doing gaming or YouTube. So just get it done and then play games. It's way more satisfying when you're playing a video game and in the back of your mind you don't have, oh god, I should be doing that dissertation or I should be doing that coursework, whatever it may be. If you get it done and then you play games, you don't have that little thought in the back of your mind, which is great. Do I think there should be an AD Zhonya's? Not really. Like, AD carries, unless you literally get one shot, you can, like, build a lot of lifesteal and stuff like that to kind of get your health back instantly in late game. Like, I've literally seen a Draven be nearly dead, auto attack one thing and basically be full health. Like, AD champions in general just have better, like, other ways of dealing with it. Like, an AP mage doesn't have a way to get their health back instantly, do they? Like, both sides of the coin have different things that they do. So yeah. What about Fiddlesticks? He's not great. Like, Fiddlesticks has a lot of weaknesses, and I'd say his strengths don't really... his strengths aren't better than his weaknesses. You can still play him if you enjoy him. I just would think he's very good for climbing. But yeah, cough, cough, lad. Well, obviously, there's a few specific examples of champions that can heal, but we're talking about the average, obviously. Right, we're going to answer 2 more, and then we'll probably go into, like, a couple rapid-fire ones, I guess. So... this person, StockC619, what are your thoughts on using Flex Queue as a way of coping with ranked anxiety to help prepare for solo queue? I guess you can. I actually didn't realize that people had ranked anxiety potentially even over Flex Queue, because to me, and again, I never want to disrespect people, but Flex Queue is literally a normal game to me. Like, I would not even attach the ranked badge to it. If someone comes to me going, I'm a Challenger Flex player, I'm like, okay, good for you, pat on the back. Like, I know that's probably disrespectful to some people, but I really don't see Flex Q as anything good. So if it does help you, then great, go in it. If that, you know, the attachment of it being called ranked technically could help you get over ranked anxiety, then that's good. You should definitely do that. But I will warn you, obviously, most people in Flex Q probably, you know, are thinking it's a normal game more than ranked. So you're going to probably have more people messing around in Flex Q than other modes. So, yeah. Next question is, do you watch any TV shows from AFL 12? I watch a lot of TV shows. I don't actually watch them on my TV, though. I watch them on my computer, but I catch up on them. Some of them I watch live, like Game of Thrones. I'll be up at 2 a.m. on Monday watching that as soon, like, you know, live broadcasting with Sky on my computer. And, you know, I just watch other stuff. Suits, Ray Donovan, Westworld. You know, pretty much all the popular ones I pretty much watch because they're good. I like them. All right, we're going to answer one more question, and then we're going to go from just, like, very simple, really quick answer questions for about, you know, a minute or so. Next one is, where around the world have you traveled or want to travel to? I've traveled a lot. I've done a lot of Europe. I've done a decent amount of America, but I'd probably want to do more of America, and then I'd want to go to Asia more and do, like, a lot of Asia. I really want to do Tokyo and Kyoto. I think that will be my next, like, big holiday. But I have no idea when that would be. But there we go. All right, let's do some rapid fire. Do I watch Game of Thrones? Obviously, yes. Who doesn't? What do I think about the new Guardians? Angel? Personally, I think it's horrible. I think it's okay. So do I think Vlad is good for climbing? He's not amazing because he takes a really long time to ramp up. But if you can get to that mid-late game, then he can be pretty good. What did I do before YouTube? Basically nothing. I've just been a student my whole life, pretty much. Next one. Do you remember the game that you first reached Diamond? I have no idea what game it was, but on the top of my head, actually, I'm slightly remembering it. It might have been on Kale. It was either Kale or Lux, or Rise. It was either Kale, Lux, or Rise that got me to Diamond. It's probably on YouTube, because I started my YouTube career when I was at Platinum, and I would have got Diamond while doing YouTube. Thoughts on Tryndamere? I think he's boring. No point playing him. What do I think about Kled? He's cool. He's hard to deal with. He can snowball a game. Root beer or Dr. Pepper? Dr. Pepper is probably my favorite soft drink, and I've never had root beer, so that's kind of an easy answer. Favorite anime? Boku no Hero is turning into that. Jace better mid or top? Probably top lane. Favorite ice cream? Surprisingly orange, and there's a very specific location in Rome next to the Trevi Fountain. There's an ice cream parlor. The orange flavor in that parlor is the best orange ice cream in the world. Do I think Akali is good? She's average. What thoughts on talent? Really good with lethality. Favorite league skin? I don't have one. And that's pretty much going to be it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the Q&A. Again, I haven't done one in a while. I like doing them on Twitch because there's like instant feedback. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments and I will probably like answer them as much as I can. But like it, subscribe. See you guys next time. See you.